I'll wait to eat.
Hello, welcome back to my channel. Big up to Yuna already in chat. Bleep, 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 boop, boop, boop. Okay, Yuna. Yeah, okay. Anyhow, on to more important stuff. I don't actually know what I titled this stream. I always title it some random bullshit. Let's see what's the title here. Man City's title to lose. Hey, that's a dramatic title. What do you have to say about that?
I was just gonna be like, we finally got our Whining Wednesday back. So.
Hey, we can't whine about the show not being on Wednesday this time.
Not today, but trust me, we'll find something to whine about because we are professionals here. We are professionals here.
But before we get into the whining, I do want to talk about the title actually. We're in a position where if we win every game, we win the title. We're not going to win every game, but theoretically speaking, we win every game, we win the title. Now, I'm going on the assumption that Man City and Arsenal draw. How many games do you think Man City can still drop points in to win a title?
I don't know. I mean, because if we draw that game, that means they would be ahead of us.
Yeah, but they'd be 2 points ahead of us. And we have the better goal difference.
No, we don't. We don't.
Yeah, but if we play out game in hand, we'll have the better goal difference.
I don't know. I mean, I think what is the goal difference? I think it's like 4 or 5 now. And we can't seem to put teams away anymore. We just that is something that I think this could come down to is we haven't really given anybody like a real ass whooping anytime like lately. I don't know if I trust us to because I don't think we're playing. I don't think we're playing a creative lineup.
We beat Fulham 3-0.
Okay.
So I mean,
like a 4 or 5-0. We haven't done any of that this season. We thought we were against Fulham at Craven Cottage, and then we almost bottled the game. So I don't know. I can't talk about the title right now. For me, I can literally only think of one game at a time right now. This Leeds game has me very, very worried because I think the way we set up just kind of plays into their hands. As you saw from the second half of the game, we didn't put the game away in the first half, and then pretty quickly in the second half they equalized. And yeah, I think their high pressing is something we can't deal with. We don't really have any press resistant players anymore, so they're struggling with it. I know a lot of people are going to blame a certain keeper. I'm personally not, but gotta shout out that agenda, even though it's not mine. I'm worried that we're just not clinical enough and that we're not going to create enough. I think our midfield is too conservative. I'm hearing a lot of talk about how balanced it is. I don't think it's balanced right now because I don't think there's any creativity in there. It's too conservative. That's how you end a game. That's not how you start a game for me.
Yeah, no, but it's not about starting or ending a game for me. It's just about general ideas, like what do you want to do with your midfield? How are you planning to win games? How are you planning to play games? Because the way you start a game, if it's a close game, it will be the same way you end the game. Yeah, you only talk about closing a game once you're 3-0 up. Let's say you're 3-0 up, 20 minutes to go. That's when you talk about the closing of a game. I see this style, that this is a style we are attempting to win games like this, to play like this if we're 1-1, needing a goal in the 90th minute. Even if we change the players, the style will be the same. That's how we're trying to win games. And I don't think this style that we saw against Newcastle is going to appear again. I think it's just the anti-Newcastle system that we produce, because Newcastle is a very physical side. What did we do? Throw all the most physical, most pressing players onto the pitch. Okay, I'm fine with that. You adapt to the games. Now the question is, we're going to play against Leeds, quick on the counter. How are we going to line up our back four? How are we going to line up that rest defense? And how are we going to break down that deep block? For me, it's a very simple answer. You play Husnov, you play Guehi, dead fast, Rodri, O'Reilly next to him, O'Reilly in a deeper role, and then front 3, front 4, do with it as you like, as long as Haaland starts, and you have, in my opinion, either Nunez allowed to push up far so he can create, or you have Cherki in there, one or the other.
Yeah, I think well, you mentioned they're going to play a block. So if they're going to play a low block, that is where you do need a Cherki, because we don't have any creators on the pitch to create chances against a low block right now. Our two best players who kind of create chances in those scenarios is Cherki and Doku's not around. He's injured still, because again, that guy just cannot stay healthy. So you have to play Cherki in that scenario. It's likely going to come at the sacrifice of Marmouche, which I think also hurts because he's our best presser. So,
but are we gonna need that against this team, against Leeds? Because Leeds is a counter-attacking side. Pressing a counter-attacking side isn't how you beat them, because they're just gonna play long.
Yeah, I feel like if they do the same game plan they did at the Etihad, where they low block in the first half and then kind of open up and start pressing us back, we're gonna need to counter pressing with pressing, I think.
Yes, no, that makes sense, but that's not how you start the game, though, because now you're assuming that they're going to open up in the second half. So why would you play in the first half with how they're going to play in the second half?
Well, yeah, then make sure you make the sub in time if you need to. If you see them changing their attack in the first 10 minutes of the second
making
half,
a substitution in time. Now we're getting greedy, aren't we?
Well, I mean, he did it. He did it against Newcastle. It was very clear that we were getting burned on pace. Very clear. He made the sub at halftime. I think he needs to do that more.
I heard that Ruben Diaz was feeling uncomfortable, and that's why he came off. I'm not sure if that's true.
He's injured again?
I'm not sure if that's true, but someone told me in my chat, I think, if I remember correctly, that he came off because he was injured or feeling uncomfortable, whatever that means. I don't know if it's true, so don't take my word for it.
Maybe he's uncomfortable that his ego is. Maybe it means his ego was feeling sad because he got embarrassed. He got tattooed again by Pace, and that's something that we're probably gonna have to deal with in this game. And I've said this off streams or anything, but like Diaz in a high line against a team that is looking to counter, I think is a recipe for disaster. And if we're assuming that Leeds are going to try to counter us with pace, then I would not want Diaz to start this game. But I think he will, because Pep trusts his guys. He's got his certain players that he will always play no matter what they do, and Diaz is kind of one of them. So that does concern me in this game that's coming up. Yeah, just this particular game. I don't think that's the case for every game. We keep saying, you play to the matchup, and I think if you're going to play to the matchup, you would start Husanov in the game.
Would you?
Because
I would start Husanov too, by the way. But if we're gonna play, because that's what I said earlier as well. I said earlier that I'd start Husanov. But if you're gonna play to the matchup, maybe you want an experienced player there. Maybe that's your argument. Or maybe you want a better passer there. If you're worried about the pressing from the second half, maybe you want a better passer there. I'm playing devil's advocate, by the way.
Who's the better passer between Diaz and Husanov?
I think it's Diaz for short balls and Husanov for long balls.
Okay. I would agree with that statement. But you also have Gehi there. Don't forget, Gehi is an experienced player. He's, maybe he's never been in a title race, but he has played in big games. He's played in finals. He won a final, and he played very well in that final. He's played in international finals as well. So it's not like this guy is just some, he's not Max Elaine coming up from the championship. He's got no experience. This guy is an experienced player, and I think in certain matchups, those are the players I would play, and I think this matchup is one of them.
Hello, big up to Rosa as well.
Hey, big up Rosa.
Yeah, I don't know. This is not the type of game I'll play Elaine in.
No. Elaine is going to play in cup games. I think that he had his chance. He unfortunately had a very bad game against Bodo Glimt and Manchester United. I don't think he'll play much, and he'll probably be sold in the summer. I think we had the Max Elaine experience, and he had a couple of good games. I'm going to give him credit for that. I thought he looked very good at Newcastle in the cup game, but I would not. I don't see him playing very many minutes the rest of the season.
Speaking of giving credit where it's due, I don't think Marmush was great against Newcastle. But I don't think he was horrible either. I see a lot of people say that he was terrible. I don't think he was terrible. I don't know why people think he was terrible. Maybe they want them to score a goal from 30 yards out. I don't know. But he set up the first goal by O'Reilly, which O'Reilly, brilliant finish.
For that one.
Yeah, brilliant finish.
Actually, Holland created that chance. Holland won the header, got it straight to Marmoush, and then Marmoush created the chance. So
and Holland created space with this run as well. Beautiful team goal.
Yeah, but, Holland was our main creator on against Newcastle.
But still,
I love it.
Marmoush did the hard part where he dribbled past a player and gave a beautiful pass to O'Reilly. Brilliant goal by O'Reilly. Mm-hmm. Brilliant header from Haaland. Brilliant run by Haaland. But Marmoush also did his part. I think all three of them have an equal part in that goal. But
yeah, it was great. It was beautiful to watch.
I don't see anyone praising Marmoush for that, which is just so weird.
Yeah. I didn't really hear any commentary on Marmoush. I heard a lot of commentary on Semenyo that he struggled in the game. I share that opinion. I don't think he really had that good of a game. I know we have a small sample size, but I don't know if the Marmoush, Semenyo, Holland front trio is going to work. But again, like I said, small sample size.
It was more like a front 4 or 5 even, O'Reilly sometimes joining in. But it was more like a front 4, and I just don't think that Marmoush, Haaland, okay, that works. Marmoush, Haaland, Semenyo. If you have a creator in midfield, sure.
Yeah, Turkey in midfield, then it would probably... Yeah, because somebody has to get the ball to them. Yeah, I think somebody has to get them the ball.
These are 3 players. 2 of them are very good scorers. But maybe you could argue
I think all 3 are good scorers. Yeah. One's an elite presser, one's a physical player, one's like the best goal scorer in the world. So they have, it's like,
but none of
2
them,
attributes in one of them.
None of them are terribly creative. Like they all can create, but they're not super. Like that's not their strong suit.
Exactly. And I think the first touches is a little sketchy too.
Yeah, Marmoush's first touch can be sketchy. Haaland, I think, actually has the best first touch of the lot, funnily enough.
But he has the ball bounce off his foot quite a bit. And Semenyo, I think it's fine.
It's okay. I think when Semenyo plays on the left, his first touch is better. Because he plays on his natural foot, of course. But you want him playing on the right, because then he can cut inside and score. If you're gonna... is Semenyo more creative if you play him on the right, on the left? I'm not sure. Maybe that front 3 can work if you play Semenyo on the left, but I don't find that terribly convincing either, to be honest. We haven't seen it yet, of course, so I can't say, but I just don't think it would work. Yeah, we have to have creativity from midfield, I think, if we play this front 3.
Yeah, which we don't. That's the problem for me in that game, is just we don't have I think Nico O'Reilly was the one trying to push forward, and he has the best background for it. But I actually wanted him further back in that game because to deal with the physicality of Newcastle's midfield, I think Rodri needs that big body next to him. And he didn't, when Nico O'Reilly has to create, then you don't have the big body next to him that you need. And you also don't really have if you want your big body shouldn't be the creator. Your little body should. But he doesn't. So that's where you'd probably want a Turkey to play, or even a Foden, because Foden can go back and get the ball and progress it forward.
But Foden is also not terribly creative. His final ball, my biggest problem with Foden in that forward stand role is his final ball is not good enough. Inverted winger, second striker, but those are Marmoush and Semenyo roles in this system.
Yeah,
if you drop him deeper as an 8, I think Foden is fine, but he lacks the stamina. I don't think physically he's bad because he can just dance around people. I don't think physicality is a problem. He can dance around people. Well, what's the problem is he doesn't have the stamina to put in off-the-ball shifts like Bernardo used to when he was younger. So...
Are the stats about Foden running the most in the league just a fugazi? Like, what do they mean? I've seen stats that he's run the most kilometers.
No, but Bernardo Silva last season ran the most. There's a difference between running and doing it.
So that stat might be kind of meaningless then.
I'm pretty sure the statistic is like most runs per full or most kilometers ran per full 90. But you can run the most kilometers by jogging all game. Because a lot of players are going to stand still. Midfielders are going to move more by default. The question is, how much of that are you sprinting, how much are you pressing, and how much are you just walking from side to side?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've said this before with Luke on my channel, actually. Foden has been improving his cardio, but it's not at the level yet where I think he can do what Bernardo Silva used to. So if he's going to be in that deeper role...
Okay, when you say Bernardo used to, so who's better at it right now? Because you said used to. So does that mean maybe they're equal right now, or is Bernardo still better at it, or what? Because
I think Bernardo is more experienced at it. I don't think he's better at it.
Okay.
I think that experience makes a difference in like big games, but I think overall Bernardo is worse at this point. But Pep is not going to care.
Yeah. I personally disagree with that, but yeah, I mean, I personally disagree that I don't think he's a better player right now. I just don't. I'd rather see Foden out there doing that job, and
no.
That's how he builds stamina up, by doing it. Sitting on the bench is not helping him.
Well, you need to just do cardio. It doesn't matter where you do your cardio.
He's not doing it from the bench. Also, why is he on the bench? And if we're going to give him this big contract extension, I just don't get it. Why? What's the point of giving him a contract extension and just to bench him? It doesn't. I'm confused.
Well, I'm just going to quickly check how many minutes Foden has played, because I actually don't know off the top of my head. But let's move this quickly to Gusnov and Diaz, because we did want to both talk about that. I'll see a lot of Diaz disrespect again, and I think you're going to give some Diaz disrespect as well. But I still think Diaz is the best centre-back in the Premier League, I can't lie. Maybe Josko is better, but he's injured, so that's a moot argument. I don't know. What is your thoughts on Gusnov Diaz? Because, I mean, I know it, but I want you to say it first.
For me, it just depends on the matchup right now. I still think Diaz is a very good player. I mean, I'm not like against that. I just think in certain matchups, when you play him in a high line, he does become a liability because of his lack of pace. And he is starting to pick up some more injuries. So I think that is also further, because I thought he was very good before he got injured. I thought he had really stepped up from last season and has been improving. And yes, I know he's experienced in leadership and all those things, but there are still certain matchups where there is pace in a high line that he just doesn't perform well in. And like we saw that in the Newcastle game, like he was in a high line and Anthony Gordon and Elanga were just running riot. They were countering and we struggled to keep up with them until Husnov came on and noticed they stopped doing it. There was one chance in the second half, I remember Elanga on that Nori took care of. So I just think in certain scenarios, I would prefer Husnov. Again, I don't think that's every game. I still think Diaz is like the starter for now. But I do think we are a lot closer to the conversation between Husnov and Diaz than a lot of people think we are. I think next season is going to be very interesting and a lot of this is it's not even to slight Diaz at all. Like Diaz is doing his thing. I think what it is just Husnov is performing so much better than we thought he did. I haven't seen moments this season where he just looks afraid or inexperienced. Like, despite the fact that Husnov is like our fourth, fifth choice center back and doesn't play as many minutes, he has a lot of like really big experience moments on his like City resume in a sense. Like he's gone to the Bernabeu and shut Vinny Jr. down. He's gone to Newcastle and shut them down in a cup game. Him and Max Allane. Who thought that was going to happen? So these are big moments too. And when that's coming cold off of Juventus almost scored. Would have been a cracker. Sorry. So I think for when I say that I think this conversation is coming, it's not because of it. It has nothing to do with Ruben.
Benfica almost just scored, by the way. The ball literally went across the net. They had a fucking tapping.
Oh, Juve, dude. Juve's hoeing. Who cares? I'm only watching because of Weston McKennie. He's American. When in doubt, root for the Americans, even though I don't give a crap about Juventus. But yeah, I'm not trying to slight Ruben Diaz at all. I think he is who he is. He's a leader. He's a very physical player. He's very experienced and he's very good center back still. But I just think Husanov is starting to raise his game to a higher level that it's going to force a conversation because one of them is 21 and one of them is turning 29. And I think I think next season is when we're going to have a conversation about these two. And I am heavily predicting that in summer of 2027 that a center back is going to leave the club. Because if Husanov keeps improving, other clubs are going to come sniffing for him. They're going to say, hey, we can offer you a starting role. Like, maybe it's not Bayern Munich or somebody like that, but it could be a Dortmund, or it could be, like somebody in the Premier League, like a top 4 team, aspiring team who can say, look, we can offer you all these games. Do you want to sit on Man City's bench or do you want to start games for us? They'll start wooing him. I think there's also this is more of a next season issue as well. I think everyone's just assuming that Vardiel is just going to become a left back again next summer or next season. And he has stated he doesn't want to do that. He wants to be a center back. So I think that's because I don't think he's as good defensively as a left back because I don't think he has the pace when he's put so far up the pitch. Fine, he scores goals. I love that, but I think we're going to need his passing out of the back because he's so elite at that. Because of Donnarumma as our keeper, like you have to adapt to Donnarumma, and that's one way you do it is by having an elite passing center back, which we have. So why would we take him out of that position? So I think that's going to be kind of a brewing issue. And also Victor Hayes comes back. That's another. So I think in summer 2027 we're set up for a center back potentially.
I think next season we're going to see something very interesting because we're going to have 3 very good center backs: Diaz, Guehi, Gvardiol. And then you've got Husanov, who's a bit younger, who's also starting to join that bracket of centre backs now. So, Can you see this? Yes, I can. By the way, if I cannot see your message, that is not my fault. YouTube made an update. Half the messages on live streams are not coming through. I've had the same problem on a Keys chat. I'm sorry, a lot of messages are just not going through. This is not just on my channel, this is on a lot of channels. I don't know what's causing it. So, yeah, skill issue, I suppose. Thank you, YouTube, for your beautiful update. Yeah, you might have to try a few times until messages get through. Anyhow, what was I saying?
And mods, if they spam, that might be why. That might mean they're not spamming. They're just trying to get their comment to be read. And then if it comes up 4 or 5 times, that might not be them spamming. That might just be them trying to get the message out once. And and then the program is just messing up.
Yeah, what was I saying before I said that? I forgot.
Oh, center back conversation.
Oh, right. I think next season we're gonna have 4 really good center backs who are going to be fighting out for that starting spot. Now, I think Gvardiol is a lot better than Guehi, I'm not going to lie. Guehi has been brilliant. I think Gvardiol is going to blow Guehi out of the water when Gvardiol comes back.
Gvardiol is like world-class potential. So
he's world-class, full stop.
That's the person you build your whole defense around, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I think more interesting is going to be Husanov against Diaz. I don't think Husanov is going to immediately win that. I still think that experience from Diaz matters. I think Diaz is going to play a lot of big games next season, but I think Diaz is going to start playing less games. And then the season, compare it to Kyle Walker in the treble. He didn't play a lot of games, but he played the big games. He didn't play the final, but he played against Real Madrid in the semi. He played all of the big games, even though he didn't play as much as he did last season. I think Diaz is going to be a lot like that next season. And I think the season thereafter, if he'll either become a substitute player or he'll leave, one or the other. But that's very long-term future. Let's stick with this season.
I do think the conversation is going to come up, though, next summer. Maybe towards the end of next season. But also in the Kyle Walker thing, one thing that I think one reason he played more games than he probably should have is because Nathan Ake got injured.
Yes.
Against Bayern Munich, and I still think Walker would have played. Also, you can start using Husanov like you use Walker as a defensive like pace merchant against certain players. Like, you can do that too. And we
But
also are forgetting that
what-
Husanov could probably play some right back minutes as well in certain matchups. Maybe if you need to go more defensive, or if Nunez just needs a rest, then you could play Husanov there. Because remember, beginning of the season, those first few games, Husanov was playing right back. And remember, he got injured in the Arsenal game, and people were like, damn, that really derailed our season because he was playing so well. And our defense kind of fell apart after that. So
yeah, but that's why you need backups, though. For if you get an injury, that you don't collapse as a team. Because last season we had one injury and no backup, and let's see how that went. We collapsed as a team.
Also, the best player in the world. Like, no, but you can't really. It's hard to. That's hard to anticipate, and that's hard to replace. But
well,
I think what worries me is I think our system
injury.
is a little too heavily reliant on a couple of those players. Like, I think we saw how bad we looked without Nunez. So if something happens to him, like let's say he, because I know he got sick or something, but what if he broke a bone or if he tore a muscle or something, then he's out for the whole season, and the system might collapse, and that would be, we don't want that to happen.
I think we should be able to cope though with losing Nunez for like, let's say 5 games, 10 games, because Husanov can just shift into that right back slot, and then you have Guehi, Diaz, and Vardiol all there in that centre back role, and maybe a youth centre back still around in case you really get in trouble with injuries. You still have O'Reilly who can play left back, and Nouri who can play left back. If injuries get really bad, you can play one of them centre back, but that is depth. That is depth.
We saw Nouri play right back against Bodo Glimt.
Oh yeah, we did.
It was more like a right winger though. It was interesting. I was like, what?
It was a wing back kind of, wasn't it?
That was a weird. Yeah, that was just a weird game.
Bodo Glimt is massive though.
I know. I'm actually I'm convinced we're gonna draw them, and that scares me because I think
I want to draw them.
The way they play is the absolute worst nightmare for the way we play. And that we even got burned on pace with Husanov playing in that game, and Max Alain, who's pretty quick as well. And imagine replacing them with 2 slower center backs, because that's what Pep will do. It could be long days for us if we have to play them. I'm actually potentially terrified for that. That's just how well they've played. And I watched the game, or I watched the Inter game, and they just absolutely smothered them and controlled that game. Inter had a few chances, and then they just kind of faded and didn't do much. And I worry because they'll sit and play the low block. We're currently not playing creators, so that's going to be tough to break down. We threw 7 attackers at them, and we created a bunch of chances, just nobody could finish. We're probably not going to play that creative, and we still struggled in that game. They have the pace. We played our pacey players. We still got burned by it. So I think there's just a lot of intangibles in that matchup that I think would be really difficult for us to advance. So I really hope. I hate to say, I hope we get Real Madrid, but hey, maybe Benfica will win and we'll get them.
I'm gonna be honest. I want Bodo Glimt. I want to smack them up so hard. I want this Bodo Glimt super team thing to go away, because it's getting pretty tiring. It was fun at first, but now it's getting boring. I want to slap them up. I also just want revenge, because they did humiliate us, I can't lie.
Well, they've humiliated a bunch of teams. They humiliated Atletico Madrid. Actually, I think that was a close game, but they just barely scraped in. They humiliated Inter Milan over 2 legs. Also, I don't want us going back to that plastic pitch when it's like 0 degrees. Like, I don't want anybody exposed to that. I don't want Nunez exposed to that. I don't want Rodri exposed to that, because I think I don't want Haaland getting injured on that. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't want our players to have to go back up there and go on that terrible pitch and potentially get injured. Because, like, we're trying to win a Premier League too. Like, so I'd rather just not go there. And we already won at the Bernabeu this season. And the rumor is Mbappe is injured and isn't going to play in the first leg. I don't know if that's true. Again, rumor and innuendo from the internet. So always super accurate on Twitter.
And
the Spanish media.
I've never seen anything on Twitter that's remotely false.
Never. Or Wikipedia.
Speaking of drawing Real Madrid, they've just scored Arda Güler.
Oh, so what is it, 2-1?
2-1. That's 3-1 on aggregate.
Yeah. Well, That hope lasted about 4 minutes. Not even. I had no hope.
So
Only a fool's hope.
So I might get disallowed actually, because there might be a foul here on the goalkeeper. But it's Real Madrid; it won't get disallowed.
Yeah, at the Burnabout, yeah, forget it. You have a better chance of getting struck by lightning.
Yeah, sorry, I'm so focused
You're
on the
watching
game
the
right now.
thing, yeah.
Yeah,
So.
I'm watching.
So
The,
yeah, and
he
I just
did not touch
I
the
just would be
goalkeeper.
very nervous. I know a lot of people are like, yeah, we'll bitch slap him in the second leg with our full team, blah blah blah. I'm like,
Yeah, he didn't touch the
okay.
goalkeeper, and he looked on sides to me. So, yeah, we're possibly drawing Real Madrid. I don't want to play Real Madrid anymore, bro. It's getting boring.
I'm just so bored of it. But I think they're the worst team right now. Bodo Glint don't have a league. They're not playing in the league right now. And the long layoff doesn't seem to be affecting them. I think when they played us, they had like 30 days off or something.
Yeah, but they played friendlies. So it's not like they weren't playing any games. They were playing
Okay,
games.
but they're not playing. They don't have a league to deal with. Like we're trying to win the Premier League, so we can't necessarily do any rotation.
Yeah. No, we can. We can do the rotation. Depends on if Diaz is injured or not. But that's the thing I disagree with. So many teams. This is not just a Man City thing. So many teams can rotate a lot more, but just don't. And I think that's going to be a growing thing in football, rotation. Because let's go back to the 1990s and early 2000s. I wasn't alive, I know, but you don't have to be alive to look up fucking statistics. Back in these days, the starting 11 in a league season would change far less than what they do now. I believe like the average Man United starting 11 was like, I think 5 of them started like 30 games. You don't have that as much in modern Premier League football. So the more football progresses, the more rotation is coming into football. Because you're playing more games, you're playing more intense games. You're playing over the summer more, you're playing international games. You're playing more, basically. And there's also the substitutions rule, the 5 substitutions rule, which makes football games more intense. Because there is the expectancy, we can change more players, and there is the effect of changing more players, which adds more energy to a game, which makes them more intense. So games have become more intense due to rule changes, and there are more games. So you count all that up, there's a greater need for rotation. And I think you're going to see that more and more in football. So you need to rotate wisely as well, too. You can't rotate an entire 11 like we did against Bodo Glimt. But specifically Man City, we can play Husnov one game, Diaz the next. There is no reason why we can't do that. We can play Husnov at right back one game.
For that? Oh boy, I think Juve might have scammed a penalty, but I don't think so. This guy's still
big team in Champions League effect.
He got taken out from behind in the heels.
The goal by Madrid was
up to his
by
heel. That should be a penalty. That's not a scam pen. Never mind. I think he got hit pretty hard.
The goal by Madrid was disallowed, by the way.
Oh, was it? Wow, I'm shocked.
Yeah, but it was offside. He didn't touch the goalkeeper, but it was offside apparently.
Yeah, it is true. There are a lot of games, and FIFA is determined to make sure that there is no free summer. Because you know how we'd have the World Cups, and then we'd have like the continental tournament, like the Euros, or in America, there's the Copa America, which is the big one. There's also like the regional. I mean, Copa America is a big one, but USA, the CONCACAF has one called the Gold Cup. It's the same thing, but it's just this. Nobody cares. It's like, okay, it's the Gold Cup. Like, who cares? So those would be like, and then you'd have the summer off. You'd have the summer off, and then they're like, oh, we have to have the Nations League, and now we have to have the Club World Cup, and we're gonna expand the Club World Cup. Ooh, Penn, yeah, Juve scored. Okay, so that aggregate is now 5-3 instead of 5-2. Yeah, Locatelli is going loco. Like he's very excited to score a pen. Yeah, so yeah, you're right. I think part of that is going to be probably expanding the squads a little bit, expanding the game day squads a bit more, and maybe increasing the substitutions. But if the manager doesn't want to rotate and he wants to write his guys down, like he wants his guys, like, do you think Pep Guardiola's going to just magically start rotating more? I don't think so. He used to, like, but now he seems very fixated on these like starting 11s. And I think the only reason that we've actually seen rotation in the past 2 seasons is strictly due to injuries. I don't think it's really due to wanting to rotate players. It used to be Pep Roulette, but I feel like since the treble, he's kind of shied away from the Pep Roulette a bit.
Well, we won the treble because in the Champions League we played the same 11 every game, except for the way that there were injuries, because that adds stability. And I think it is important to have that stability in a title running. At the end of a season, the final 10 games of a league season, you just play the same 11, you know who's starting. In the Champions League knockouts, you know who's starting. But I think rotation has to happen mostly in that middle quadrant of the season, where it is the most busy as well, because that's when you have 2 games, 3 games a week. So I think we move away a bit from rotation as well, because we don't have the squad we used to.
I would argue with that. I think we've actually, since January, I think we've increased the quality of our squad quite a bit, to the point of where it's like, at some point we're going to have to make a decision on, like, you know, who's going to be out of the squad soon, because everybody's healthy. I think the only player we're missing right now who's due back this season is Doku. So that means that Max Elaine and Enrico Lewis are probably going to be left at home. Like, because and Nathan Ake too. Nathan Ake is healthy or he's not healthy. So when he's healthy and when Doku is healthy, we're not going to have any room on the bench. And, you know, somebody's going to get left out. Like we had to do it earlier this season with Oscar Bob, remember? Like the first 1 or 2 games of the season. I think the only one who's not coming back this season is Vardiol. So we don't have to worry. But he would be an automatic starter if he was playing.
Yeah.
And then, so I think it has increased quite a bit. We're still...
Yeah, but
some of the players are still kind of reaching their levels.
We're talking about an increase, though. We're talking about an increase from our lowest point this decade. So if we're actually talking about our highest point this decade, which would be the treble, and the season before that, 21-22, which I do think is better than 2021. Yeah, we went on a 20-game winning run, but the teams we played were shit. Still impressive, but I'm just saying, I think 21-22 was better. If you look at those squads, I think those are the better squads. Like Sterling in 21-22 was better than any winger we have.
Yeah, he was outstanding.
Right now. If you go to the treble season, Maris even, I would argue, is better than any winger we have right now. Maris in the treble, and he was on the bench last season.
He was on the bench. That's why he left.
Yeah, because Bernardo was insane that season as well. So we've had just wingers. Our ceiling is already lowered. And now we're talking about on the bench. 21-22, we had Maris and Sterling, both. And we had Bernardo Silva, who, I mean, we still have him, but he's not the same quality anymore, is he? And
yeah, but he still plays every game, which is becoming a problem.
Yeah. Then we have Gundogan, who could play anywhere in midfield back then. Then you add in Foden, who's going to play on the wings. Then he played on the wings. It's only the 4th beat. He really started playing him in midfield. So, yeah, false 9 as well. Then you add in the treble, Alvarez and Haaland for striker options. That's mad striker options. I'm just saying. So.
Well, right now we have Erling Haaland and we have Marmoush. Those are 2 very good options.
I mean, Haaland is the same, of course, but
Haaland is the same, but Marmoush is still very potent.
I like Marmoush. I like Marmoush, and I think he's a better player for Man City because he's not going to start in the 9. But I think as an out-and-out 9, he's not as good as Alvarez.
No, he's not, but he's still a good option to have. Think about this. Think about the game. Think about the team that we started against Salford in the FA Cup game. That could have been a Premier League starting 11, and almost all those players were coming off of our bench. I think it was just 1 or 2 players who had to go in because we had no other option. Like I think Nico O'Reilly was playing in the middle just to give him midfield experience, so that meant Nari had to play left back, and those 2 are still staples. And I don't remember, did Nunes play? I don't remember, but
I don't know.
the majority of that team was like bench players, and it was really good starting 11. And what pisses me off about that game is how high the quality was and how terrible the performance was. But anyways, that doesn't matter. But what the point I'm trying to make is that like that was our bench playing. It was like Nico Gonzalez and Tijani Reinders and Ryan Turkey and Phil Foden. I think most teams would kill to have those players starting games. We can't put them into our lineup at all. They're coming off our bench, and then we all know what happens when we've seen this story a million times. We all know what happens when people are on the bench too long. Even if they just join the team, they're not going to want to stay.
I mean, of
and
course,
especially if you're not winning trophies. If we don't win anything this season, I think some people are they're just gonna be like, "This ain't worth my time." Maybe the ones who've been here a little bit longer, but and part of that is just because some of these older players just won't move on, and they need to move on just to vacate the slot so that the new players.
I mean, what older players are we talking about? So, of course, for all the contract extensions that we talk about with Bernardo Silva, I don't think it's happening. If it happens, I'm going to cry.
I've heard contradictory news to that. I've heard it's almost done.
Yeah, sure.
I heard that on a stream last night.
I'll believe
Not my
it
stream, but I have heard that.
I
think that would set our rebuild back. That would set our rebuild back.
Definitely. It would absolutely set our rebuild back.
So does that mean Phil Foden would have to wait around till he's 27 years old to finally get his starting spot in the midfield? That's embarrassing.
Yeah. If we extend Bernardo Silva, like, I'm sorry, what are we doing?
What are we doing? Yeah, what are we doing? If he was going to be a bench player, fine, but he's not going to be a bench player.
No, I don't want him as a bench player.
A year older starting. Well, look who the manager is.
I don't care. I don't want him as a bench player.
The manager is not benching him. The only way he would be benched is if Pep left and we got a new manager. And the new manager would immediately bench him and be like, "You ain't good enough." It's literally just a Pep Guardiola infatuation. And you could also, to be fair, I'll talk about another player as well. I don't know what's happening with Rodri. Rodri is potentially, he is getting close to 30. I think he turns 30 in a couple months. I personally don't think I think he's one you keep for another few years because I think he's just that good and he's showing he's getting back to his best. But some people might make the argument that he's holding a rebuild back as well. I just think his quality levels are just so much higher, and he's still the best. I think he's still the best six in the league and probably the world. I can't think of any DM who's better than him. Can you? This is even him at full fitness, and he's starting to get that full fitness. I think his form has turned around dramatically because of that one tactical switch of putting a bigger body with him in the midfield and taking some of the pressure off of him. Like, he's been fantastic. His duel numbers are sky high. He's winning the ball back. He's still doing the long passes here and there. Like, he looks a lot better, and I think that's somebody I'd want to keep. But if the two of them if Rodri and Bernardo stay, if they both stay, that would cost us probably a new signing that we probably need. And that would be very unfortunate. But the whole discussion about Rodri and if he's going to stay or is he going to go, even if he doesn't sign a new contract, I don't see anybody paying any money for him, knowing that he's going to be a free next summer. Who's going to pay money for him? Like, I think if he leaves, he's only going to go to Spain because I think that's where he wants to be. I think, and I get that. David Silva was the same way. He wanted to finish out his career in Spain. I respect that. But I don't see any of the Spanish clubs paying money for him when they know he's going to be a free next summer. So then he would be here. And then if Bernardo's here, you ideally need one of them to go so you can bring in a body who can replace them. And I don't mean just like a body, like the future player who's going to be here the next 5 or 6 years. I personally just don't see anybody paying money for Rodri. I think, Real Madrid don't pay money for players. And especially not over when they're 30 or older. They wait them out on a free. And Rodri is going to be out on a free soon. And I think Barcelona would take him in a heartbeat. Could you imagine Rodri and Pedri in the same midfield? Passing to Lamine Yamal? That would be disgusting.
Of course. Barcelona don't have the money to pay his wages. They're paying all their wages out to Frenkie de Jong. I think Rodri is extending, to be honest. I hope so,
because I think he's a great player.
Maybe I'm coping. Listen, maybe I'm coping, but I think he's extending. I think we're just, it's like it's a typical way of doing business when it comes to football PR. You wait until it's the transfer window. When does all the Man City 115 news come out? It's a transfer window. Why? Because it's the exciting moment of the day to talk about these things. So
we must be winning if they're bringing up 115, because why else would they?
Yeah, they've realized that Arsenal is bottling it. We'll talk about Arsenal bottling for a bit as well, but they've realized Arsenal is bottling it. The 115 news is out. Yeah. I would not be expected, because there is an international break either after or before the Cup final. Let me check that, actually. It's either after or before the Carabao Cup final. I think in that international break, we're going to get to the other news. If he does extend. Maybe. If he doesn't extend, then I think it's going to be obvious if we don't get that news then.
And I get it if he wants to go. I'm sad because I think he's still a great player and can give a lot to our team. And I still think he's the heart and soul of our team. And I think I want him to stay. But if he does want to go, then, I would say keep him next season and then let him go on a free.
At the end of the day, if a player wants to go, let him go. Because there's no point in keeping them around.
Also, at the same time, though, they have a contract to honor. Also, maybe he wants to just go on a free. Maybe he's willing to just be like, yeah. And it's not, the club can't force him out either. If that was the case, Phillips would have been gone a long time ago. We can't force anybody to go. I've heard rumors that we told Stones to leave, and he said, "Nah, I'll just hang out and collect my wage." So maybe Rodri does that. Says, "Yeah, I don't want to go. I'm going to stay here for one season. I'm going to wait and go to Spain on a free and get a huge signing bonus." That would make more sense for him too financially, because you'd think that he's going to sign his last big contract. So going on a free and getting a signing bonus would help that cause to get that last big payday.
A lot of players, though, they don't care as much about the sport as people would think. Take John Stones. This guy does not give two fucks about club football anymore. No offense, he's won everything. He's done with club football. The only thing he still cares about is England, the national team. He's always fit for England. That's not pure chance. He's completed club football. The only thing he has left to care for is England. So
World Cup, yeah.
A World Cup, anything. I guess the World Cup is the last thing he'll be young enough for. But these players, at the end of the day, they're professionals, and this is their money. And if you're a bit greedy, let's be honest, you're going to stay there and you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to collect my wages. Is John Stones going to get better wages in Saudi? And is he going to get called up if he's in Saudi? Not very likely. But if he's at Man City...
England center backs is not very... It's kind of precarious. I don't think they have a lot of great center backs.
You don't need to have a lot of great center backs. The moment you go to Saudi, you're dead in most national teams, except for the weaker national teams. It's Kanté still getting called up. He's not, even though France don't have a good 6.
I don't want to answer that.
What?
I don't want to answer the door. I'm gonna be quiet for a minute.
I thought that was my door. I can't lie. That scared me for the moment. Anyhow, I guess I'll just waffle while Calc deals with that. You're sending me something on WhatsApp, aren't you? I want to see this, actually. Let me check WhatsApp. Tell me on WhatsApp who that is, if you don't mind, because I'm interested in the storyline now. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, okay. Solicitor. Trying to sell something. Yeah, I won't answer the door. Why do they bother knocking again? In Belgium, they knock the door, they wait like 2 seconds, they're gone, bruv. Even if you want to answer the door, you need to be like the fucking Flash or they are gone, bro. In Belgium, even if you are interested, bro, they knock on that door. You are not there in 5 seconds, bro. They are gone like the Flash, bro.
Sorry. Okay, sorry. I think that was weird. I was being weird on that one. I really hate. I don't want to. I guarantee somebody trying to sell me something, and I just don't want to deal with it.
Why are they knocking again, bro?
I don't know.
Why are they knocking 3 times?
Oh, and guess what? Guess what? That the cat had to come investigate. Come on. No, it's not a stream. It's not a stream without Katniss. Come on.
Katniss is the main character of this channel, of course. We should make her the mascot. Him. It's Katniss.
It's a girl. She's a girl. Yeah. It's a girl. Wow. She's a girl. Come on.
You see how Calc talks about animals here. Wow.
She's my baby. She's my baby girl. Come on.
Yeah. That's called
gaslighting. She decided to just stand here awkwardly. She's like, her back paws are on the table and then her front paws are on the couch.
Like, that's called gaslighting. Anyhow.
Well, that's called, no, you can't drink my water. Jeez. Oh, God. And then she does a loop around the computer, so she's coming back.
Anyhow, let's actually talk about our next game, which is that Leeds game. Because, listen, we've got a lot of easy games coming up. And yeah, one game at a time, but I'm just saying, we've got a few easy games coming up. Realistically, we should win every game until that Chelsea game. I don't know when that Crystal Palace fixture is going to be played, because scheduling and they're in Europe as well, which makes things extra annoying. But we should beat Leeds, and we should... I want a convincing win. I just want... go out, beat Leeds convincingly. Put pressure on Arsenal. If Man City wins 1-0, 2-1, 2-3, that does not pressure Arsenal. It does not get the media talking. If Man City goes and slaps Leeds United 4-0, 5-0, now the media is talking. Now the media is waffling. And once you get the media talking, Arsenal are... like, these players, they're on social media. These players, they Google themselves. They watch the YouTube videos.
The second the game's over, they're checking their phones.
Yeah, the fucking moment the game's over. While they're watching the Man City game, because they will be watching the Man City game, they'll be scrolling through social media. The pressure will get to them if there's a lot of pressure. Maybe not this Leeds game specifically, but maybe after the West Ham game, whenever that is, the Crystal Palace, whatever. But we need to slap these teams. If we win with 1 goal against Leeds, the media may talk about Arsenal bottling it potentially, but it won't be as intense. If we slap Leeds, and we slap Forest, and we slap West Ham, and we slap Palace, now the media will be talking. Now the media will be talking about blue sharks. Arsenal can't handle this. The pressure is too high. Arsenal will lose it. And then the Arsenal players, they've done this. This is 3 times they've done this. This year is the 4th time. The pressure is going to get to them if we keep putting pressure. I don't think a 1-goal win is enough. I don't. I think we need to make the wins a bit more convincing to put that pressure on.
Yeah, I totally agree, but I don't see us being capable of doing it, because I think Pep is just being a little too cautious sometimes. And again, when you don't start a creator, you're not going to score a lot of goals.
What would you... let's say everyone is fit, except Vardiol, because you'll want to start Vardiol. Let's say everyone is fit, bar Vardiol. What do you do with that midfield?
I'm keeping, obviously, Rodri and Nico O'Reilly. Some games you'll play Bernardo, but I would prefer to play Foden, because I just think he's more of a goal threat. If your goal is to try to score more goals, Phil Foden's going to be the guy who does that.
I'm asking what would you do, though, not what would Pep do.
I would do Foden, O'Reilly, and Rodri. I think that would cook. I've stated this on Twitter verbatim.
Yeah, I think at some point I'd actually just do Rodri Gonzalez for the running. I'd do Rodri Gonzalez, and then either O'Reilly or Foden, depends on how you want to play there with that midfield. And then I'd have creativity trying to come it from the wings. I'd have Cherky in some games. Then maybe I'll have Semenyo left wing in another game, or Doku whenever he's back, which might be never.
I would flat out do that. I would flat out be starting Semenyo. I would be starting Haaland and starting Turkey. Also, part of this, and then have Foden, Nico. You could do either Nico, to be honest, either one. Nico Gonzalez might be a little more defensive, but sometimes you're going to need that in the middle, especially next to Rodri. I think that would be outstanding.
Yeah, but by putting that more defensive player next to Rodri, you allow Rodri to push up more. And Rodri is one of the few players who has a through ball on him.
Yeah, and he's also very good. We saw it in the year he won the Ballon d'Or, the 23-24 season, because Cavo would stay back, Rodri would push forward, and that's when Rodri was scoring a lot more goals. So and he's a threat outside the box. That's a different dimension to our attacks, especially if we're playing a block, I guess a low block. But the reason I would literally be doing Semenyo, Haaland, Cherky, Foden, Nico, either Nico and Rodri, because when you kind of do this little 4-4-2 shape, and you have Semenyo and Haaland up front for the goals. I want to get Cherky and Foden next to each other again, because when we had that 8-game win streak earlier in the season, it was Foden and Cherky carrying a lot of that. I want to get them back together in the same lineup because I think they feed off of each other. Cherky creates chances either for Haaland, or if Haaland misses or Haaland's not there, Foden was scoring a lot of goals back then too. And I just think that energy and that synergy and that youth is what we need. It's not like it's inexperienced, because Haaland is a very experienced player. Foden is a very experienced player. Rodri's a very experienced player. And Nico is playing like he's playing beyond his years. And Semenyo's been around too. So it's not like Semenyo is just fresh out of nowhere. Semenyo gives you the physicality that you need, and that like Haaland, Semenyo, Foden, or then either Nico and Rodri, that is a very physical front six. So when you have those tough matchups, you have the physicality, you have the pace with Erling Haaland, you have the creativity from Cherky, and you have the goal scoring from Foden and Semenyo and Haaland. And I to me, that would be a more balanced, but there's no point because we're not Pep. We're never going to see it. So, but it's still fun to, that's how I would do it.
Yeah. But what do you think if we played the way you like? Let's forget what Pep wants to do right now. If we play the way you would like, do you think we could go back to the teams 3-4-0?
Yeah, I think that lineup cooks. I think it scores a lot of goals because you have a midfielder who can. Because you have a midfielder who can go up there and score goals. Also, Turkey has scored a lot of goals too. Nico Riley scored goals. Rodri, we know can score goals. Haaland, obviously, if Haaland has a creator getting the ball to him, I think he'll score more goals. And Semenyo can score goals. And he scored most of his goals for Bournemouth off of the left anyway. So I think that's his preferred position. So he has scored for us on the right, but I think he would probably score more if he was on the left.
Yeah, so where do you think that breaks for Man City? Like specifically, where do you think that breaks? Because clearly it does, because we're not getting these massive wins at the moment. Where do you think that breaks at the moment?
Where do I think it ranks?
Where do you think it breaks? Where do you think?
I would be looking at
collapses.
Oh, who breaks that system? I don't know. I think to get that system cooking, I think against West Ham and against Forest is where you kind of test that out, because those teams lack a lot of quality. So that's where you kind of go and you get the can of whoop ass out. But who would go again? Who could tattoo us with that lineup, or where we struggle? I don't know. Maybe against Chelsea. No, Chelsea. I don't know. Chelsea are not good. But Chelsea weren't good when we played them at the Etihad, and they found a way to take points off of us. And so, I mean, there's that Palace game too. They've lost quite a bit of quality. So I don't know. But I've been looking at the Forest and West Ham game to try to rack up some goals, because those are two teams fighting relegation, and the reason they're fighting relegation is they're not good teams. And West Ham has also lost one of their better players too. Remember, Paqueta is gone. He's in Brazil now. He's not on West Ham anymore. And when they came to the Etihad and played an okay game against us, he was very good in that game. He's not there anymore.
Yeah. I think we can. I think we still can though play to that level. I think there's no reason why we can't batter the teams 3-0 because we did beat Fulham 3-0. Because you say, because your arguments are, and I don't necessarily disagree with them. Listen, I don't necessarily disagree, but sometimes Marmouche plays and there's no clear creativity from the middle. That's Jackie play that we have great creativity from the middle against Fulham, though, who beat 3-0.
Did he play that game? I don't remember.
He did not.
He didn't play at all?
He came off the bench, but we were 2 or 3-0 up already.
3-0 up. Yeah, I mean, sometimes, we're also at home. That helps. We tend to score more at home. So that does help.
Yeah, that does help.
Did Doku play in that game?
No, I think he was injured already.
Yeah, I don't remember who scored the goals or how that. My brain doesn't go far. There's too much has happened since that game.
I'm not great at remembering these things off the top of my head either. No worries. But
I just think if you want to go for it, we have the players to do a go for it lineup. So, but play them.
My point.
Do a game, just go for it. Like the Bodo Glint game, I think we had a go for it type attack. It's just nobody was clinical. We created chances, but we created a ton of chances in that game. We just couldn't convert any of them. Their keeper had another super, scrub keeper superstar game. Tale as old as time. Mark Flecken Norwegian version.
My point though is we played Newcastle 2-1. Okay, should have been better. But I don't think we're going to see that same system again. I think that was the anti-Newcastle lineup. I don't think that's how we're going to play for most of the remainder of the season. We played in the FA Cup. A lot of players there, I think, had a superiority complex where they just felt above the game. I don't think that's going to translate to Premier League games. It's a bad thing, but it's not going to translate to Premier League games, I think. We beat Fulham 3-0. We beat Liverpool, Tottenham, Spursy. We beat Galatasaray 2-0. We beat Wolves 2-0. So then you go before that, we beat Exeter 10-1. Okay, then you've got your bad results. 1-1, 1-1, 0-0. Then you're 1-2 against Forest. Liverpool only won 1-2 against Forest. Arsenal dropped points against Forest. Then we
barely beat Forest too. We had like that last minute goal. Also, I changed the game. I forgot PSG and Monaco were playing, so I put that on. That's actually a 3-3 aggregate, so that might be the best tie right now.
Then you've got that 3-0, 3-0, 3-0 against Sunderland, Palace, and West Ham. One of those games, away. We can do it. We're just not consistently doing it. We can do it with these play. We've done it with Cherky on the pitch. We've done it with Doku on the pitch. We've done it with one or the other. We've done it with neither. I think we can do it.
Doku missed the Palace game, and that was when the Turkey Foden combo was kind of doing its thing. Actually, I think Tijani Rangers was in the team then. Because remember when Doku was out, Foden got pushed wide. Yeah, Foden got pushed wide before we had Semenyo. And Tijani Rangers was scoring a bunch of goals.
Yeah.
So we have the players. We're just not consistently playing them. A lot of these players we're talking about, we did it in this game with that player, they're all on the bench.
Yeah, but even if they're not so, one time Tijani Rangers went on a little run where he scored 3 or 4 games in a row or whatever. And
that was when Doku was out.
Then he stopped scoring again. And then he immediately goes on the bench again because, Pep favoritism. Foden had his run of scoring. He stopped scoring. He goes to the bench. Cherky didn't really score a lot, but he had a few goals. He had a few assists. Those dried up. Didn't really dry up either. He scored and assisted, I think, against Spurs. But he started performing a bit less. He immediately goes on the bench. Do you think we're sometimes too cutthroat then with benching these players?
Sometimes, yeah. Because they do that because they're not part of the favorites. The favorites, it doesn't matter how poor they perform, they'll always get those minutes.
So obviously, but
That's the frustrating thing. That's just the frustrating thing about Pep.
Who are the favorites other than Bernardo Silva? Because obviously,
Ruben Diaz. Ruben Diaz went straight back into the team.
Ruben Diaz,
not fit. Yeah, he pretty much went straight back into the team. Rodri's a favorite, but Rodri's the best. I think Rodri's the best at his position in the world. So if anybody deserves to be like an automatic starter, it's Rodri. You could say Erling Haaland, maybe. I mean, well, he's just going to play no matter what because he's Erling Haaland. Best in the world. So best in the world in his position. So that's not one you're going to complain about.
Yeah, but you can still say they're the favorites, even if it's fair. They're still the favorites, right?
I feel like the longer you've been at the club, the more favoritism you get. Like Doku's going to just come straight back into the team, very likely. Even though I think that's a mistake because he's just so injury prone these days that I'd rather give him more time.
Speaking on Doku coming back, because we've talked about Doku coming back pretty much all stream, if not all stream.
What did Pep Linders say when he did the press conference a month ago? He said it would be 18 days, and it's been more. Now I'm here in March. Yeah, now I'm here in March, and I saw something that somebody was quoting. Again, somebody was quoting Sky Sports, so I don't know if that's actually accurate or not. But the person quoting Sky Sports said that I guess Doku wasn't in training, but then there was a training photo like last. Oh my God, this cat cannot make her mind up. She got up. She's coming back. There was that photo like I think before the Newcastle game of them, the huddle. I think it was right after it was after Arsenal dropped points, and they had that huddle where Bernardo was like leading the huddle. And there was somebody bending down and sticking their butt out at the camera. And I was like, ooh, based on the size of those legs, that looks like Doku. So I think Doku was in training, but allegedly Sky Sports, again,
it's got to have been a random play from the
academy. It looked like Doku. It had the same kind of frame and the body shape and the legs, you know. It looked like him, but again, all we saw was his butt, not his head. All right, you got it.
That could have been a random academy playing one.
A rando academy, yeah. I thought he was in training, but again, what's going on with this guy? Just never available. It's frustrating to me. I think that might be a reason why we're not hearing any rumors about a contract extension because he only has 2 years left as well. He expires in 2027. He's in year 3, so was it year 4? I don't remember. Maybe he has one extra year, but
he's on year 3, I think.
Okay, he's on year 3 then. Okay, so I guess 28 would be, but maybe that's the reason why we don't really hear about a contract extension because I don't doubt his ability. I am doubting his availability. And do you really want to give another injury-prone player big money? I don't. Is the trade-off worth it? For some people, it is. For me, it's not. I need you to play. And also, like, I think what makes him so special, that burst of pace, that will diminish as he keeps racking up these injuries. These are muscle injuries. This is not like a broken bone or a ligament. This is your muscle. And you just keep injuring that. You keep injuring that. You keep injuring that. You're going to lose that burst of pace. And outside of that burst of pace, I don't think he's got much to his game.
Broken.
He doesn't score goals. He's got 1 goal this season. 1.
Yeah. Broken bone.
I know he creates chances, but like, is he an elite? Is he like Kevin De Bruyne? You accept the injuries because you know when he plays, you're probably going to get something spectacular, and he'll probably rack up a ton of numbers before he gets injured again. You know, as we saw, like he came back from the long-term injury and won us a league. He's had in and out stints, but like unless you're talking that kind of level of player, to me, it's not worth the risk. I don't know. But people can disagree with me. That's fine.
Then you've got another player for the outwingers, Savinho.
I don't know where he gets in this team.
I don't even know what he's still doing at this team. No offense.
He got injured also. He's been injured twice this season now. Remember, he got injured to start the season. And then he had this major injury for 2 or 3 months. I think he's back. Isn't he back on the bench?
Bro, he's been injured like... I don't think this man is injured anymore. I just don't think he wants to play it anymore. Because he was supposed to be back already, like over a month ago.
I don't know if I believe that. I don't think he's phoning it in. it might just be a quality issue. Maybe he's just not making the team because he's not good enough. It could be. I don't know. I'm not going to question his. I'm not going to say that he's faking. I don't. Somebody else already did that. A bigger account already has said that, and I just disagree with it. I just think he might not be good enough. I'm just going to leave it at that.
I mean, I will just say straight up, he hasn't been good enough. To be fair to Savio, we gave Doku all that extra time, but
yeah,
I would just say we wasted that time a little bit on Doku if he doesn't turn good, and he's not turned good yet. Listen, he's had one purple patch this season, and
he's turned better, but again, he keeps taking himself out of the team by injuries. So that to me is a red flag long term.
Yeah, there are going to be injuries because of the way he plays and the posture he has and all that, but maybe he just needs to get more into his game than just quick off his feet, explode. Maybe you need to get more into your game as a player at that point, because
develop a different skill set, maybe? Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, take for example Reece James. Nobody will argue with me when I say he's the best right back in the Premier League.
No.
But when we talk about best right back in the Premier League, the conversation is always Nunez or Timber. I very rarely see Reece James in there. Why? Because he's injured so much. So
also, he's been playing midfield a lot this season too.
Yeah, he's played midfield a lot, and I was going to get onto that.
Yeah, I bet it in.
He keeps getting injured. So how has he stopped getting injured? He's stopped playing at fullback, where you have to be as explosive, and he's gone into midfield next to Caicedo, who's very strong, very physical, where he has to do less of that strong physical job. I don't see Doku getting ahead of Cherki in midfield. I don't see Doku playing as an inverted winger without using his explosivity. So I don't think that's an option for the Doku, to be honest.
Yeah, I've been on the record. I would sell him this summer. I know he's getting better, but
also,
I don't trust his fitness. I really don't. It's for me, it's his fitness. I think he could be a lot better.
You're cutting out a little bit. She froze. You froze. I can still hear you, but you froze. Oh, she's gone. Oh, she's back. She's frozen though.
I didn't even do anything. Am I okay?
I can hear you. I can hear you, but you're frozen. For some reason. Oh, she's gone again. I think she's rejoining. Oh, there she is. She's loading back in. Technical difficulties, guys. Like and subscribe for more technical difficulties. That's half the challenge.
I didn't do anything.
It's the provider's fault. Always blame the internet provider. That's the easiest thing to do. Anyhow, we're gonna have to wrap.
We ripped off internet.
Yeah, we're gonna have to wrap up soon, though. So to close off.
Oh yeah, work.
Yeah. Unlike you, I'm actually keeping the hour in check, because otherwise you don't do your job. Look at this. Kelkster calling her cat "it's" instead of "she." Now not paying attention to the hour for her work. Problem child, isn't it? Anyhow, as I was saying, to close off here, I think you can buy wingers who have a more varied skill set than Doku. I think you could buy a winger who's got a better skill set than Doku, who can do more in midfield, who can play both as an inverted winger, a wide winger, has more goals and assists to his name, and can play a deeper role, and has more off-the-ball output, and is more experienced, and he's already in the Premier League. His name is Gibbs White. Because, believe it or not, he's played a lot of his career on the wing. I don't think Doku... I don't think Doku, if he can't adapt, and if he can't play a more varied style of football, where he uses...
got a red card.
where he uses his wider skill set, I don't think he'll have a future. I think he needs to develop that wider skill set. Because I just can't see him as a winger without that explosiveness. And maybe if you are the Doku, you want to go to Ward and Weather, because Ward and Weather is good for your muscles. If you have a lot of muscle injuries and you go to somewhere that's warmer, you'll have less muscle injuries. So maybe that would also help for the Doku.
Yeah, it could. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what he looks like when he comes back. But again, you're gonna have to manage that pretty delicately. I think we did a really good job buying Semenyo. I think he kind of fits where the team is going and kind of where the Premier League is going. He can get better, but got him in now, so we can get him. And he's still pretty young. He's about to enter his prime, so. I mean, that's a good signing. And then, yeah, get another one of those. And then or if you want to play as a right winger versus the middle, then do that. That gives him time to learn midfield role. So, I think there are better options. Again, down to reliability and fitness. And yeah, he's not helping us right now because he's not playing. So, he can help us. And, we've had a lot this season. We've had a lot of career, and it's a concern. It's a big red flag.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't want to rely on those.
The only thing I'd say is I don't even know if I would play Doku as an inverted winger anymore at this point. Because again, I can't see him doing that job if he lacks that explode. Oh, she's gone again. Oh, she's back again. We're about to end stream anyhow, so it doesn't matter. But
I don't know what's happening. I probably have to restart my computer.
Yeah,
probably. Maybe the cache is just all messed up.
Yeah, we're about to end stream anyhow, so it doesn't matter. What else was I going to say? I got distracted by Kelkster disappearing again. Yeah, I don't think even playing Doku as an inverted winger anymore is going to help if he's going to lose that explosivity to his game, because once that's gone, I don't see him playing as an inverted winger. So maybe short term this season and maybe even next season, short. But long term, I don't think that's a long term future for the Doku. And by extension, that's not a long term future for Man City. So no, I don't think that's the way to go with Doku. If Doku can stop getting injuries and if Doku can get more into the shape, and if Doku can just slow down and play at a high level, slowing down, and add more goals will be important, then I think he can have a future at Man City. But that's something he still has to do. I'm not convinced by one purple patch that Doku has had. I'm going to be brutally honest here. But I'll leave it at that, since Kelkster is bugging out and has to work soon. And we've talked about everything.
Sorry.
It's been a good stream. Hey, you're working now. You'll bug out again in 5 minutes, though. So we'll round it up. I know Kelkster doesn't do score predictions, but I do. I'll go 1-4 against Leeds. I feel like Erling Haaland hat-trick. It's been a while. Erling Haaland hat-trick, 1-4 against Leeds.
3-1.
3-1. There we go. Beautiful. Anyhow, the chat has not worked all day. Thank you, YouTube. It's not just a meeting, by the way. I've gone on Keith Thomas's channel, well, not on his channel, but in his chat. I've gone into the chat of Lee Gunner. I've gone into the chat of a few streamers, even just general, and not even football streamers. Chat is not working properly, so I can't fix it. It's just a YouTube thing. My apologies. Alfred, like, subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.